Last November, Florida voters overwhelmingly repealed one of the nation's most draconian voter disenfranchisement laws, giving an estimated 1.4 million convicted felons the right to vote. Barring felons from the ballot box has a long and racist history in Florida. It first showed up in the state constitution in 1838, but it was after the Civil War, when Confederate states were forced to grant black men the right to vote, that Florida lawmakers expanded the voting ban to specifically target newly eligible black voters. At the time, blacks actually outnumbered whites on the voter rolls. That makes the passage of Amendment 4 a huge victory for voting rights. But whether felons will actually get to exercise the franchise remains to be seen.
This is my parents' old house. This was the first place I had came when I first returned. I came straight here. Kaden, open your folder so I can see what you did today.
When Dimitris Gifunza was 18, he was convicted of armed robbery and sent to prison for 4 years.
And you did this by yourself, your math by yourself?
It's been 20 years since he got out. Since then, Gifunza got a college degree and a job as a paralegal and is studying for his master's in mental health.
What are you eating? Peanut butter and Cheeto sandwich?
He got married and became a father to 3 kids. But what he's never done is vote. Do you remember, was there a moment when you realized, I can't vote, this is really significant?
When I first came home, this would never be an issue that I would talk about voting. Who cares about voting, you know? But when it really hit me is when my first child was born. And I started thinking about his school, his education, his life, and things that I'm responsible for as his father. You can't fight for your child the way you want to if you can't vote, because you don't have a say-so in anything that affects him or her.
So when Amendment 4 was proposed, Gifunza campaigned for it. And now that it's passed, he was one of the first to register.
This is the first time in my life I've ever done this, so I'm kind of excited about that. I'm just glad to be a part of history.
Oh, Demetrius?
Yes, sir. Where can I sit? Which, either one to fill out?
Either one. Whatever is convenient for you.
Mr. Turner, can I ask you a question? Mr. Turner, have you been told that?
Yep, perfect. You'll be registered to vote. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You'll get your voter card in the mail.
Demetrius,
Thank you.
congratulations.
This is a big deal for more than just Gifunza. More than 1 million new votes could mean a lot in a state like Florida. Here, recounts have almost become expected, and some of the biggest recent elections have come down to just thousands, sometimes hundreds of votes. Turnout is typically pretty low among former felons, and those who do vote aren't guaranteed to back a particular party. But the demographics have Democrats excited.
How we do? Pass the toast to. Hallelujah! Praise the Lord, hallelujah! We're going to vote.
28% of the newly eligible voters are African American. And if just 1/10 of those 1.4 million newly eligible voters turn out, they could easily swing a major election. But Florida's Republican leaders, including newly elected Governor Ron DeSantis, want to pump the brakes on the amendment. The text of the amendment is pretty cut and dry. It states that, quote, voting rights shall be restored upon completion of all terms of sentence. But Republicans, like State Senator Dennis Baxley, say they still want legislation to clarify how to implement it.
Whatever we're doing is going to be about compliance. It's not going to be about who's eligible. Anything we would do would be how-to things. That's all. So that there's not mishap or an opening for mischief. Because, like I say, we all know that elections are high stakes. And when you get in the middle of campaigns, it's amazing what people would do to finish well.
You're really worried this will be used for voter fraud?
If you've ever been through a few elections, you've seen everything.
So here is me holding a sign just saying, we want fair elections.
Right.
But people like Sancho, who served as Supervisor of Elections for Leon County for nearly 3 decades, say those Republican concerns are just a mask for voter suppression.
We are the genesis, I believe, of the modern era of voter suppression tactics. The use of a fraudulent felons list, for example, which the state admitted denied over 10,000 people the right to vote in the 2000 election. The voter ID laws in 2006, which most of the Republican states followed in 2010. So Florida has been kind of the laboratory for voter suppression efforts.
That can't bode well for implementation of Amendment 4.
No, I agree with you. So I am anticipating that they're going to try to slow walk it. They're going to try any kind of impediment they can.
The legislature can't take this issue up until their session starts in March. So for now, Demetrius Jafunza and other advocates are trying to register as many former felons as they can.
Happy for you, brother. I'm happy for us.
See, the people in Florida already spoke. That's why we have Amendment 4 implemented today in the Florida Constitution. If you're going against that, then you're going against the majority of the voters that's in the state that you're now governor of. How are you going to explain that?
So whatever fight comes, you're willing to fight it.
Hey, that's what we do in Florida.